All right, tonight's homework. Solve each polynomial equation. We have 6 equations here that we need to solve, so we're going to go through and practice the skills we've been working on in class. We'll start out with number 1. We have the quantity of z plus 1 times the quantity of z minus 5 equals 16. So the way that we're going to look to solve this right now is we're going to try to get everything together on the same side and solve it using factoring and our zero product property. So the steps we need to remember here. Number 1, let's simplify each side first. Second, we want to set our equation equal to 0. And then third, we want to solve using whatever method we've chosen to use. So whether it's factoring and using the zero product property. If it doesn't factor, we might have to use the quadratic formula. But we will solve the equation. So starting out, number 1, the z plus 1 and the z minus 5 equals 16. First thing we need to do is simplify this side. So we're going to need to multiply these together. Now you can use a variety of methods. You can use the generic rectangle, or you can use the FOIL method, however you wish to do it there. So with this one here, I will go ahead and just FOIL. So I'm going to distribute each part of this binomial through the other one. I'm going to do z times z is going to give me z squared. My z times my negative 5 is going to give me negative 5z. 1 times z is going to give me plus 1z, or plus a z. And then 1 times negative 5 is going to give me a negative 5. Now this equation still equals 16 at this point. Let's combine our like terms here. So we have z squared. I have a negative 5 and a positive 1, which means I have minus 4z minus 5 equals 16. Now this side's already simplified, so you see we've completed step 1. Now we need to set it equal to 0. So we're going to take it, we're going to subtract 16 from each side. And you'll see we have z squared minus 4z. And we're going to take away 16 from negative 5, which means we're getting even deeper into the negatives. So minus 21 equals 0. Now our equation equals 0. We've done the second part, and now we need to solve it using either, our factoring and zero product property method, or we could look to use a quadratic formula. I prefer factoring first, so let's go ahead and do that here. And since I didn't use the generic rectangle to multiply those, I'll use it to factor just so that we're okay with that. So we'll set up our box here. And it always helps to kind of do it off to the side. Don't do it, right underneath your equation, because you're going to run out of room to do your equation. But you want to try to keep that all together. Remember, first term, bottom left corner, so we've got z squared, that's the area of that box. We have a negative 21, would be the area of this one here. Z squared times negative 21 gives us negative 21z squared. And then we take our middle term, negative 4z, and we place it down in the bottom. So remember, this is the product. This is the sum of these two. So two numbers that multiply to give us negative 21z squared and then add to give us negative 4z would be negative 7z and positive 3z. Remember, you need to have more negatives than positives because you have a negative sum down here. So let's put a negative 7z up here and a positive 3z down here. Now we're going to look for the greatest common factor in the left column. So z squared and negative 7z, they both have a z in there, so we're going to pull out this z. And z times z gives us z squared. Z times negative 7 gives us negative 7z. And then z times positive 3 gives us positive 3z. And we'll see 3 times negative 7 gives us the negative 21. So we factor this into z minus 7 times z plus 3 is equal to 0. Now we're going to use that zero product property. If z minus 7 times z plus 3 equals 0, then one of them is going to have to be a 0. So z minus 7 equals 0, and z plus 3 equals 0. You solve it and you get z equals 7, or z equals negative 3. How could you check those? Well, you could take it and plug them back in there to make sure it makes the original equation true. So we could say there, this will be my check over here in red. Let's say 7 plus 1 times 7 minus 5. Does that equal 16? Let's see. 8. And then we have 7 minus 5 is 2. 8 times 2 should equal 16, and it does. So we know that this one is correct. And let's try the negative 3. We're going to do negative 3 plus 1 times negative 3 minus 5. That should equal 16. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. And when we do that, negative 2 times negative 8 should give us 16. So 16 equals 16. We know the second one is correct. So there is our answer. Z equals 7, or z equals negative 3. That is problem number 1. If you have questions about this, make sure that you ask in class. Hopefully this helped you get to where you needed to be. Let's check that off there too. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video. If you have questions about the second one, please check the next video out. Thanks for watching.